Hey everyone, Colby here. Today we're gonna have a nice little video because we have a new champion announced in the game. We already know who is gonna be, so it's gonna be called Lydia. She's gonna be the Faction Wars reward for completing all stages at 3 stars. I can't wait to play around with that champion. She looks so cool, and I'm gonna share with you the skills that she has and how to actually get her. So how you actually get her is basically, do 3 stars in all Faction Wars. As you can see, guys, I haven't completed it just yet. I have only 2 Faction Wars stages missing from completion at 63 stars. So I only have Skinwalkers and Bannerlords left. And what I'm trying to do, guys, is share videos with you with my tactics, walkthroughs for stage 21 on how to beat it and which gear sets that's really important. And of course, the champions that are really important out of each faction. So I've already released videos on Dwarves, Barbarians, Secret Order, Dark Elves, and High Elves. So all the other ones are work in progress in terms of videos, and I'll be releasing those. So click that subscribe button if you haven't already and you are interested in seeing those videos. I'm gonna do Knights Revenant to be released soon, so you should expect that as well, and all the others, as I said. So guys, completing Faction Wars of course has an amazing amount of rewards throughout getting those stars. Of course, it's a very hard thing to do, especially free-to-play players have the hardest issue with this. There's no way they can complete this in a reasonable amount of time. Say they started today, a new player who's free-to-play won't complete this anytime soon, at least for another 1.5 years, even by just getting, you know, those daily login champions. He's not gonna do it as a free-to-play. It just takes a ton of time. You need to have champions at level 60, full masteries possibly, and it just takes, you know, a ton of effort. So the reward for the champion is definitely worth it, but it's gonna make it very hard for players to compete with others who do have that champion. So let's go over and quickly see that champion just to show you guys what I mean. Here are her skills. So her A1, guys, called Oppression, attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of placing a fear debuff for 1 turn. That's huge, by the way. 75% chance of increasing the duration of any poison sensitivity debuffs for 1 turn. Poison sensitivity, guys, does help with poisons. 25% more damage, basically. And then attacks enemy champions with this skill whenever they place a freeze, stun, fear, or true fear debuff on an ally. The number of attacks increase according to how many debuffs are placed at that time. 1 attack for each freeze, stun, fear, and true fear debuff is placed. The first attack will target the attacker, while all extra hits will attack random enemies. This is so cool just because it can spread around, you know, that A1 with the fear. And also, if there's a poison sensitivity debuff, she can also spread it around in case somebody gets frozen, stunned, fear, or true feared. This will work wonders in arena, especially against those torments. But there's other champions who stun, who fear, who true fear, and this will basically help you with that. And she'll be great, I think, with you know, like a ton of resistance. Letting your other champions get that freeze or stun or fear will help you basically attack back, and depending on how high her A1 multipliers are, she might be doing some serious damage with those multi-hits. So let's look at that A2. So this is called Siren's Whale. So not a whale, but I think it's called whale. Anyway, attacks all enemies. Attacks all enemies has a 75% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff and a 25% weakened debuff for 2 turns. Also places a 25% strengthened buff and a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. This is so great, guys. It's basically a champion that applies decreased defense and a weaken at a 75% chance. We already possibly know that this will be improved to 100% with skill books. We don't know, we weren't given this information just yet, but it makes sense for a legendary to have this expanded to 100%, similarly to other champions who do have this kind of skills. So fantastic skill to have from a champion that's guaranteed for completing Faction Wars. But she also gives you a 25% strengthen buff and a 30% increased speed buff. That's just crazy, guys, because this will probably be reduced to 3 turns cooldown or 2 turns maybe. Her damage is based on attack, so I don't know that multiplier, but overall, just fantastic. And I think this might be a bit too strong, but just wait, guys, until we go over the other skills. This will help a ton of players out, but already the players who complete Faction Wars have very strong champions. They have a variety of champions that help them through those faction wars. So I don't know how much difference this is gonna make to them. But overall, she looks great so far. Nullification attacks one enemy 2 times. The first hit has a 75% chance of placing a 25% poison sensitivity debuff for 2 turns. The second hit has a 75% chance of placing a block buffs and a block cooldown skills debuff for 2 turns. This is huge because it basically locks down an enemy, applies so many debuffs. This will only be a problem in the clan boss, in my opinion, because that block buffs is very annoying because it basically takes one place of your poison. So this will actually reduce your damage on the clan boss, and it has a very big cooldown, so 5 turns cooldown. So you won't be able to actually use her if you're depending on that poison sensitivity. If this gets resisted, then you'll have an issue. But of course, this poison sensitivity, if applied, even though 5 turns cooldown, this will be extended by her A1. So that's good if you apply it. If you don't apply it, then there's an issue there if you get resisted. But she's void, so might not be such a great problem. So her passive, can I move this a bit? So yeah, I'll put it like this maybe. Yeah, so her passive, guys, it's called Death Hold. It's the craziest passive I've ever seen on a champion, and you guys are gonna see why. Denies enemy revive attempts. Denies them. This works even if this champion is dead. So this has a 7 turns cooldown. So this has a 7 turns cooldown. I don't know if this means for denying everything or the whole thing. If it's a 7 turns cooldown, this is not very specific, but either way, I'm gonna show you. So what else this does? If this champion is alive when an enemy revive is denied, revives all dead allies with 50% HP and a 50% turn meter. This is huge when fighting enemies that have like 2 revivers. It's huge. Somebody dies from your team. It's just fantastic. Grants an extra turn instead if there are no dead allies. Getting an extra turn is also great, so more damage from you. And when an enemy tries to revive, but of course you're gonna deny that. If this champion is dead when an enemy revive is denied, revives the champion with 50% HP and 50% turn meter. So this is huge. This is huge. If this champion is dead when an enemy revive is denied, revives the champion with 50% HP and 50% turn meter. So she basically comes back to life when somebody tries to revive. It's just huge. It's gonna be crazy in the arena, but of course everybody will have her in the arena, is my view. At least in platinum, for sure everybody will have her, and she might be changing the meta depending on how strong she is and what other champions come into play by the time she's out. So this skill will also ignore block revive. So I mean, what else do you want? So block revive champions basically are nullified with this. She won't care about block revive, so she won't care about that Foley, she won't care about that Rotos, who got nerfed but still does apply a block revive. She won't care about any other block revivers. She will still do her job. She will still revive, if what I understood is correct. So she's gonna be too great, and players who don't have her might be having issues in competing in arena. You're gonna have her in your defense team. You won't be able to revive your allies with that arbiter. Maybe a Raglan in there won't be able to revive, and the enemy will have the upper hand if he has her. So overall, I think she's a great champion to get as a huge reward for completing such a difficult task, but she might be too overpowered is my fear. We will only know once we get more closer to her release, which is maybe by the end of October. I'm not sure yet about the date, but until then, it's just speculation of how strong she will be and what upgrades she will have with the skill ups with legendary skill books. So this was the video, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and of course check out my faction wars videos if you want to get this champion. She's gonna be great in my opinion, at least at first. She might get nerfed after a while, but for sure try to get those faction wars down. Yeah, it's gonna be a very hard task, but the reward seems to be worth it.